Before we continue, we're going to pause for a bit to make sure that we wind up with a wooble instead of a doily. So we're actually going to take our hook out of the piece, and before we do that, we're going to pull the hook away from the piece so that the loop on the hook becomes really big. That way you have some leeway in case you're clumsy like me and accidentally pull on the yarn connected to the yarn ball. You don't want to accidentally lose any of your work. And now you can take your hook out of your piece and you can let go of the yarn. So you're going to want to get in the habit of always using a stitch marker to mark the first stitch at whatever round you're on. When you're crocheting in these spirals, you can't actually easily tell where one circle ends and one circle begins. That's part of what makes this look really good, but you as the crocheter could really easily get lost. That's why we use stitch markers to tell us where every circle or round begins. That way, if we ever make a mistake, we only ever have to go back to the stitch that's marked by the stitch marker. So we need to move the orange stitch marker to mark the first V of round 2. Right now, it is in the first V of round 1. So how do we find the first V of round 2? First, let us flip the circles that we're looking at the room. So you can think of it as turning the page of a book. And you've got the loop that was for your hook at the very top. That loop traces back into a V. That V is the second stitch that you made. The first V that you made is the V below that. It should be right above this horizontal line, which is actually a knot we made in your pre-started piece, so that in case you mess up and you want to start over again, you can just pull on the yarn and get right back to it. So the V that's right above that horizontal line is the one that you want to move the orange stitch marker under. So take a good look, unclip the stitch marker like a safety pin, and then put that stitch marker under that second V, this one. So you want the stitch marker to go under only the 2 strands that represent this V. And it doesn't matter which way you put the stitch marker in, as long as it is under that V.